So the first step for putting your bag together, so attaching your straps, is marking our top of our bag here, so we know how much we're going to fold down when we sew it. So the first mark I'm going to do is 1 centimetre from the top. So just a reminder that that first bold line is 1 centimetre, so you can line that up with your raw edge all the way. Hold your ruler nice and flat, and then rule in that line. Next line we're going to do is 3 centimeters from that edge. Yeah, I'm just going to double check. 3 centimeters. Actually, we're going to do 2 centimeters. 2 centimeters from that line that we've made, or 3 centimeters from the raw edge. You could do either measurement. Okay, so I've got my 2 lines, and I'm going to repeat it on the back. So 1 centimeter from the edge, and then 2 centimeters from that line, or 3 centimeters from the raw edge. So we've done that. Now the next step is we're going to pin our straps in place. So when you have your strap, you want to place it on your bag so there's no twist. Like, I don't want to have a twist there and place it down. I want to make sure it's flat and there are no twists. I'm just going to place it so the raw edge is up against the raw edge here. And with the placement, it should be about, I'll just check the measurement. So if I measure from in the middle of the strap, it's about 10 centimeters from the edge. So the middle of the strap is 0, and it's 10 centimeters at the edge of the bag. So I'm going to pick up just one layer and pin that in place. And then I can do the other side. So making sure my raw edges are lined up. I'm going to use my ruler and make sure it's 10 centimeters from the edge, measuring the middle of the strap, picking up just the top layer and pinning my strap in place, making sure there's no twist. Now I can turn it over, and I'm going to repeat on the other side. So make sure there's no twist in my strap. Now the good thing here is I can just line it up with what I've got on the other side, and I don't really need to measure it. I can just match it up with what I've pinned on the other side. Again, just making sure you're only picking up that first layer when you pin it. Do the other side, matching up with the strap on the other side, and pin. Just make sure your pinning is keeping your strap nice and perpendicular to the edge, so it should be like a right angle. You don't want to pin it on an angle, it should be a right angle, so it should make like a square shape here. Alright, so we're ready to sew these in place. So my machine is ready to go. It's set on straight stitch. Now with this storage compartment, I'm going to lift that off because that's going to allow me to loop my bag around this part here. So you can see I've looped my bag over here, so I'm not at risk of sewing the 2 layers together. And to attach our strap, all we're going to do is stitch from one line, see here, to this line here. So that's what we're going to do to attach our strap initially. We will reinforce it later. So little reverse stitch, and you're just going to connect back up with that lead pencil line. And then I'm going to repeat on the other side as well. Just stitching from lead pencil line to lead pencil line. And you're going to repeat that on both straps. My pin's in the way a bit there, so I might just take it out. Just make sure it's straight. So you're going to do this step 4 times because you've got 2 straps and each strap has 2 sections that needs to be sewn. I'm just going to trim my threads, and then I can move my bag around to the other side and stitch my other strap. Oops. Needles come unthreaded. I just have to cut that. Oops. Just remember to do your reverse stitch, and then make sure your take up levers in the up position. Just going to take that pin out. Alright, so I've done all my straps. So now I can take all my pins out, trim my threads, and go over to the ironing board. So that's what they should look like once they've done. So you've sewn from lead pencil line to the other, and that's going to help us when we iron this to fold down and finish that edge. Okay, so I'm at the iron. I'm going to turn my bag inside out, and I'm going to use the end of the ironing board here and put that over the end like that. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to fold up my raw edge, so the top of my bag at that 1 centimeter line, and I'm going to iron that down. Now this will work better if you have water in your iron, so you can create some steam while you're doing it, and you'll get a much better ironed finish. So as you go, you can move your bag around the end of the ironing board there to access the next section you need to iron, and then you keep going. Just make sure that stays flat. So you can go around and do that edge, and then I'll show you the next step. Okay, so I've gone around and ironed down all of that top edge at 1 centimeter. Then I'm going to just lift that strap out, and I'm going to iron it down at that next line now. Now if you've sewn your strap in the right spot, it should pull out at that next line you've drawn. So again, go around, iron that edge down. Making sure that these little ends on your strap are tucked under. So you're going to go around and iron all of that now. So at this stage you should have ironed your bag at both of those points that you drew. And now what you're going to do is you're just going to put a couple pins in. See how I'm pinning perpendicular to the edge I'm going to sew? Just to hold that down nice and flat. So I'm going to pin my side seams, my straps, my other side seam, and then my other straps as well. Okay, so I'm back at my machine and I've pinned my edge along the side seams and my straps, and I'm ready to sew it. So I'm going to again loop it around this part of the machine so I can make sure I'm not sewing all layers together and access it really easily. And I'm going to do 2 stitch lines. I'm going to do 1 stitch line here to hold this edge down, and 1 stitch line here, which is going to help reinforce the straps as well. So I'm going to line up this gap in my presser foot with the fold, and I'm going to start at the side seam. Take my pin out and sew all the way around. Now I'm not going to start with a reverse stitch because I'll do a reverse stitch when I finish. Now I'm going to hold my work at the back and at the front here and hold it so it's nice and tight as I go around. Now it's going to be quite thick here on this first strap, so you may need to toe tap. Just take your pins out as you go to get it to go over it. Take your pins out. That's why you pin perpendicular to the edge you're sewing, because you can sew up to your pin and then you can take it out. It makes it really easy. Don't forget to hold your work so it's nice and flat. Alright, so I'm almost back where I started. So just make sure when you get there, you line up the stitch line and you can finish with a reverse stitch on top of where you started. Alright, so now I can move my work over, and then this time I'm going to line up my fold with the end of this plastic part of the presser foot. And I'm going to do the same. I won't film this bit because it's exactly the same as before. Okay, and there you have your finished tie-dyed tote bag. So that's what your top edge should look like, with all your raw edges folded under and your straps are nicely reinforced.